Okay, so I have. Okay, so I have just restarted the stream. And it's offline, it's online, it's offline. Okay, let's hope that it's going to work. It's both. It's online, it's offline. It's a little bit frustrating that it can't seem to hold the stream particularly well. Okay, folks, I have resumed the stream. It's going to lag, unfortunately. It looks like the internet has just dropped off to be really low across the entire building, which is unfortunate. However, I'm going to just plow ahead with this. I am going to do a recording and I'll check the upload stream. If I'm happy with the upload stream, as YouTube interprets it, then I'll leave it up there and you can watch it at your own sort of in your own time, however you so wish. If it's substandard, then I will have a separate recording that I will upload. But I want to plow forwards because there's still loads of stuff to do, and I think it's really important that we just kind of crack on with it and get some of this content in place as quickly as we can. So yeah, the stream quality, it looks like it's just going to stay really low. The whole internet in the building died about 5 minutes ago, so I just sort of had to wait for the whole thing to reset. I've just done a speed test and it's absolutely atrocious, which is very, very frustrating. But as I said, I'm about to start a separate recording, and if I'm not happy with the stream, then I'll upload that recording this evening as well onto my YouTube channel, which I'll then put a link onto Moodle for. But in the meantime, I'm just going to kind of crack on and make the best of it, and hopefully we can come up with something that looks half decent. So let's get on with it, shall we? Let's get rid of the tile, back to display, and then back to Photoshop, and I'm going to start that recording now. Okay, so this is what Photoshop looks like at the moment. We've got the characters in the backgrounds, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a little trick that will just help kind of establish, first off, the idea of distance, but also it's a really good way to create a sense of depth in the way that we are grouping characters together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to initial value level of 99% black, which is what I was using to draw in these guys. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to lower it down. I'm going to do this by hand. I'm not going to use the Munsell scale. You can, if you want to, use the Munsell scale, so you could drop it to like maybe 74. And then at kind of 74, just draw in another character and just kind of fill them in there, and draw in another character and just kind of fill them in here, maybe another character and fill them in there. And then what that's doing is it just helps to build this idea of there kind of being a larger crowd. So I'm just going to fill this one in here as well. And then I'm going to lower the opacity down and do exactly the same as I did before, which was take the eraser and just kind of erase just those bottom lines, kind of build that sense of clarity. I'm going to go quiet for a second because I'm going to be kind of drawing and typing at the same time, just because I people on the live chat who are asking questions. So I'm just going to try and do my best to answer those. And then once I've done that, sort of erase those pieces, I'm going to take that opacity back up, and that's what we're left with, is something that kind of looks kind of like a, you know, like a chart. I'm just going to round this off a little bit, like that, and then just round this one off up here. So that's kind of the introduction to the others, as kind of building them into the shot. And then what we need, though, is we need Moonwatcher. We need to kind of firmly establish that character. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create another layer. I'm going to call that layer Moonwatcher, then in front of the foreground layer. So the foreground layer is this one here on the left hand side. Yeah, and with that, it's going to go over the top, and now I can start planting a character in. So straight off, I can see a character kind of here. Some brushes work really well when they're giant, some do not. Let's go for a flat horizon brush. That normally works just a little bit better. Going to bring him down a little bit. So I've just sort of brought this kind of ape silhouette in. Now again, I'm still thinking about, you know, what did the script say to me? The script said there was a silhouette, so I need to be mindful of that. I need to be mindful of the fact that it specifically mentioned a silhouette. Yeah, I can't ignore it. It's really, really bad idea to ignore the script and instead just write, you know, sketch in what you want to sketch. Really, really bad practice. Okay, so instead of doing that, what I'm doing instead is being really mindful of what it asked for, and trying to find a way to make that work. I might bring him up and make him a little bit smaller. So I'm using the transform tool. I don't know how familiar some of you are with the transform tool. You can do some really kind of cool things with it. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this part, so I'm just going to kind of move it around a little bit and see what I can kind of create with it. That's more like it. It's kind of more in line with what I was hoping for the shape to kind of look like. I'm going to round that off. Round that off as well. Kind of bring that down like that. Just another quick check. Sorry, you can see my screen pinging around. So still got low video output, very frustrating. But like I said, I've got a separate recording going on of this at the same time. Okay, next character. So again, we're still in one ears, and this time this character's slightly more in the foreground. Sorry, slightly more to the mid. So I'm just going to adjust my brush accordingly. Character's just that little bit smaller. Not a lot, but sometimes it's quite good to be reductive in this. So that's where reductive means you put a blob in and then you have a look at the blob, you decide what you like about the blob, and then you shave out the bits that you don't want. Like so. So you can see I'm just taking out the bits that I don't like. So maybe just add that in a little bit more width on this. Okay. Yeah, like that. That's really cool. So what I've done here is I've just kind of like thrown in the first couple of shapes. Now I'm going to show you a really cool technique just to kind of give you one example way of working out, or sorry, two example ways to see if your shot works. Okay, does it structurally work? Does it make sense? So the first thing you can do is flipping. Now before we flip anything in a group, so I'm going to just unlock the layers that were locked. I'm going to take all of the layers from this comp drawing. I'm going to throw them into one group just here. And then I'm going to select